Have you ever really thought about how a single musical instrument can completely cross over deep cultural boundaries? Well, today, we're diving into the fascinating legacy and the incredible saxophone artistry of N. Anandan. And, it immediately brings up this super fascinating question. How exactly does a historically Western instrument end up capturing the absolute soul of South Indian music? I mean, we usually associate the saxophone with smoky jazz clubs or maybe contemporary pop bands, right? But what we're looking at today is how this exact same brass instrument has basically come to command traditional Indian stages. It creates this absolutely captivating cultural bridge. And honestly, the way Anandan pulls this off is nothing short of masterful. All right, let's jump right into section 1. Meet the saxophone virtuoso. So, hailing from Tamil Nadu, India, Anandan's expertise isn't some overnight success story. Not even close. He brings well over 2 decades of deep, continuous musical experience to his craft. And mastering an art form over 20-plus years, that builds a rock-solid foundation of relentless practice and passion that literally sets the stage for everything else we're about to talk about. But here is the crazy part. His mastery isn't just limited to one single horn. He's actually mastered a fascinating triad of wind instruments, the saxophone, the flute, and the clarinet. Just think about the specific embouchure, the breath control, and the completely unique fingerings required for each of those. Mastering all 3 takes an extraordinary level of discipline, and it really proves he has this deeply ingrained understanding of musical mechanics. Which brings us to section 2, a unique musical fusion. Anandan basically operates right at the very center of 2 massive musical traditions. On one hand, you have Indian classical music, a genre steeped in centuries of tradition, incredibly complex rhythms, and profound spiritual depth. And then on the other, you have contemporary Western music styles. He acts as a literal bridge between them, using a Western wind instrument to perfectly articulate those highly nuanced, sliding notes of Indian classical music while remaining entirely comfortable in modern Western arrangements. And his repertoire proves just how insanely adaptable he is. He doesn't just do one type of gig. His offerings span traditional classical performances, deeply spiritual devotional music, sweeping cinematic tracks, and high-energy fusion. Honestly, it requires incredible versatility to shift from the sacred, reverent atmosphere of a temple devotional straight into the upbeat, modern demands of cinematic music. To sum up the emotional and spiritual impact of his artistry, it all boils down to this: a perfect blend of melody, rhythm, and devotion. You see, it's never just about technical proficiency with Anandan. It's about marrying that melody and rhythm with a genuine, heartfelt devotion to the craft and the culture. Now, to really grasp the sheer scale of his reach, consider this. He has performed over 500 live shows across South India. 500! That is a massive, undeniable footprint. It absolutely proves that his unique fusion of Western instrumentation and Indian musical tradition isn't just some quirky experimental niche. It's an incredibly high demand. Let's move into section 3, the Anandam Music Band. So, N. Anandan doesn't just do this all by himself. He is actually the founder and the leader of an 8-member professional music troupe. This team is known all across the region for delivering highly sought-after, incredibly soulful concerts. And let me tell you, leading a group of 8 professional musicians requires a completely different set of skills. We're talking strong leadership, complex musical arrangement, and just perfect, flawless timing. That crazy versatility we talked about really shines in their live performances because they completely customize their sets based on the cultural context of the event. For example, a traditional temple function calls for a very appropriate, respectful devotional set. But for a wedding, the band pivots entirely to a lively blend of romantic and cinematic tracks to perfectly match the joy of that specific celebration. It's a huge testament to their deep understanding of their audience. And finally, section 4, legacy and global reach. What I find truly fascinating is the international footprint of his work. The source material detailing his background and his band is proudly distributed in 4 major global languages: Tamil, English, Hindi, and Chinese. Having promotional materials spanning those massive languages proves an immense, wide-reaching appeal. It definitely shows a global interest in his work that goes way, way beyond local boundaries. But crucially, he isn't keeping his 20 years of knowledge a secret. His journey naturally progresses from performing live shows to giving back through group music training classes and eventually providing highly specialized personal training.
He is actively building a lasting legacy by teaching the next generation exactly how to bridge these musical worlds.
And that leaves us with one final fascinating question to ponder. How will this unique fusion inspire the next generation of musicians? Are we going to see even more Western instruments adopted into traditional Eastern styles because of pioneers like him? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer today, and I absolutely cannot wait to explore our next topic with you.